After 4 months of teasers and patiently waiting, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 has finally been released. A game people have been wanting for 4 years after the success of the Pro Skater 1 and 2 remake. They wanted to see how Pro Skater 3 and 4 would be remade into current gaming standards, and it was a difficult journey to get here. Without going into any specifics, the previous developers who were already working on this game were absorbed into Activision Blizzard, so the new devs, Iron Galaxy, had to put the missing pieces together. They worked on the Switch version of the Pro Skater 1 and 2 remake, so it makes sense to trust this company with making a new Tony Hawk game. But then there were talks of a lack of career mode, a somewhat lackluster soundtrack, and the absence of a certain skater that arguably defined the series. Fans were skeptical about what this game was going to be like. But hey, the game is out now, and after obtaining everything this game has to offer, unlocking every outfit, completing every challenge, and getting every achievement, somebody please help me. Here are some of my thoughts on Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4. Let me get this out of the way right now. The game plays exactly like the 1 and 2 remake. Like, it's practically identical. In fact, a lot of people noticed it when they played the Foundry demo. So every gameplay aspect like multi-tap tricks, grind and manual extensions, wall plants, spine transfers, everything you know about the 1 and 2 remake is back. But that also means all the bugs that people encountered with this engine are still here. Like that annoying multi-tap glitch where spamming a trick too much will give you 2 triple kickflips in one animation. The only thing added gameplay-wise was the skitching, which I'll get into later. You can choose from a staggering 29 different pro skaters, each having 3 sets of outfits and a bunch of boards you could unlock. And if none of the pro skaters interest you, then you can create your own skater, which is the same system as the 1 and 2 remake and not as robust as Pro Skater 3 or 4. But let me talk about the elephant in the room, or the lack of elephants. As you would expect, the career mode is separated into 2 different tours, the Pro Skater 3 tour and the Pro Skater 4 tour. The Pro Skater 3 tour is exactly how you expect it. It's your classic Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 career mode from head to toe. Collect your skate letters, collect the secret tapes, medal in the competitions, help Slenderman break into his home, start an everyday occurrence in LA. It's business as usual. A few goals did have to be reworked, and there were small additions like visiting Bikini Bottom that were a nice surprise. But then there's the Pro Skater 4 tour, now having to follow the classic 2-minute format as opposed to its free roam structure. And this is where the game divides the fanbase into 2 categories. You have people that prefer this change, favoring a 2-minute time restriction and offering more strategy and planning with how you carry out your run. And you have others that prefer the free roaming from Pro Skater 4. No time limit, being able to complete goals at your own pace, and giving you the ability to explore the level to find better lines and cool collectibles. Then you have another category of people that don't care about any of that and just want to play the new skate game already. Even though you had this 2-minute timer, some of the goals from the original game were properly converted. Grinding down election banners, knocking down keg barrels, and even sketching the professor's car. And honestly, I thought it was pretty well done. Sure, corners had to be cut, and some goals had to be reworked, like freeing Stompy being held hostage. Wait, what the hell is this? But at least there were cutscenes in between all of that and gave purpose to what you did, and overall adds to the charm. It really did feel like you were playing Pro Skater 4 in the Pro Skater 3 format. The problem with that is, now some levels, namely Kona and Zoo, were forced to be competition levels. Kona makes sense, it's based off an actual skate park, but oh my god, they butchered the zoo! The whole zoo is abandoned with no animals or elephants to be seen, and a huge chunk of the level isn't accessible. There's also a ton of ramps and rails that make it look like a competition level, and I don't know, this level is just terrible to play now, I'm sorry. But I mean, hey, the levels look so pretty now. They gave levels that were in a nearly 23-year-old game the visual uplift it so desperately needed. You can appreciate it even more when you use the photo mode feature, something people have been asking for since the first remake. There's even a bunch of environmental interactions in different areas so the level can feel even more alive. And to add to that, there's NPCs roaming around that you can knock down or get knocked down by. Though sometimes they can be a little off, or just broken. The vehicles in this game also won't instantly knock you down, but you can only car plant on it instead of grinding. But that still means you can skitch behind them, and there's a few things that have changed from the original game. The skitching balance meter feels a lot more unforgiving than usual, and you can even bail out of a skitch. And instead of the car gradually going faster as you skitch, you get a small speed boost when you let go, where you can then ollie or revert out just to continue the combo, which is super interesting to see. But I don't know, it still doesn't feel polished and the small speed boost throws me off at times. I could have gone without skitching and instead replaced it with the ability to set a custom restart point. It would have given you the ability to learn the levels more, especially with how complex and unique they were compared to the first two games. Speaking of unique, the Pro Skater 4 Tour added 3 new levels to replace the Carnival and Chicago levels, and possibly the Oil Rig level from Pro Skater 3. There's the Movie Studio, which is a small filming warehouse that's used as a competition level, but I feel like it's way too small to do anything creative, and it's probably my least favorite out of the 3. There is a secret area where you could find the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles hideout, which is cool, but ultimately doesn't add anything. There's the water park level, which is a lot bigger than the movie studio and has to be one of my favorite out of the new levels. There are these huge water slides that you can trick on and land on the lazy river below for some massive points. But my only gripe with it is that it's very teleport heavy. You want to go on a slide? You gotta find a specific entrance for it and find a line that doesn't kill your combo. Then the last newly added level is Pinball, which is more of a bonus level than it is a regular level. You get to skate inside a Skate of the Living Dead pinball machine while Tony Hawk gets to control it. The level contains a bunch of booster pads, a few teleports to bring you back to the start, and a bunch of moving pinballs that can easily mess up your run if you're not careful. It's all good and fun, but it does act like a downhill level, which limits a lot of your combo variety potential and makes it feel like there's only one route to follow. Overall, these levels are really cool, but there are definitely some sections where they need improvement. As you progress through the game, you can complete challenges and earn money to buy stuff not only for your custom skater, but more importantly to buy stuff from the secret shop. These contain different filters for the game, trails for your board, fancy clothing for your custom skater, or even some secret skaters. But Bam Margera being locked in this game by default is seriously a crime. After you go through career mode once, beating both the Pro Skater 3 and Pro Skater 4 tours, then you unlock pro goals and platinum medals for every level, kind of similar to how it worked in the original Pro Skater 4. These are 5 additional goals in each level that are harder to complete, like a higher score goal, a combo letter goal, or impressing the 7 skaters around the map. One of these goals was to quite literally dunk on Eric Sparrow. And the platinum goal is a single additional goal that you can complete in competition levels to get a platinum medal. And completing all of these goals will give you the ability to play the entire career mode, including the pro and platinum goals, with every skater. And this is where you get a lot of the skater specific goals depending on their skate style, something that was present in the original Pro Skater 3. And if you took about an hour or two just to complete any skater's solo tour, then you unlock a pro board with their personal gear, and 2 additional skins that make the skaters feel like they were in Fortnite. Honestly, these unlocks were a lot better than some of the Create a Skater clothing options, and oftentimes I would just play as the pro skaters instead of my own. But you know what you don't get for completing a skater's solo tour? Their skate video. The skate videos in the original games were unlocked by either getting golds from every competition level or completing their pro-specific goal, and it was super rewarding when you finally got to watch their video after putting in the work. Instead, their skate video is unlocked by completing a challenge where you do a 250,000 point combo using that skater's signature trick. It's supposed to be some sort of replacement for the pro-specific goals from Pro Skater 4, but you have to do the exact same thing for every skater, which, by the way, aren't voiced by themselves. I checked the credits, it's only Tony Hawk, Jack Black, and a handful of voice actors. What purpose do these new skaters even serve? Every skater even has the same exact moveset as each other, and they only bring one extra special trick into the mix. They all feel like skins. And instead of this crazy unique goal that was reflective of the skater's style, all we had to do was perform a combo with their special trick and you would get their skate movie. It doesn't feel rewarding. And this is a minor nitpick I have with the skater movies, but some of the songs are reused between skaters. I can't show it right now, but if you want to see for yourself, try to compare Nigel Houston's and Riley Hawk's skater videos. They both use the same songs, and while I like Alice in Chains, I don't think it was the best choice out of the entire 59 song soundtrack. Speaking of the soundtrack, out of the 59 songs that were in this game, only 10 songs are returning from the originals. You don't get Alien Ant Farm's Wish, you don't get AC/DC's TNT, you don't even get that one song from the Digimon movie that was the definition of living in the early 2000s. And while I do like some of the songs that were added as replacements, it just doesn't give off the same vibe as the original soundtrack. But hey, if you don't like the soundtrack, Spotify exists for a reason now. If that's still not an option, then you can enable the newly added streamer mode to play unlicensed music while you skate, something this series desperately needed. There's also the ability to change your timer in the career mode. You can change it from 2 minutes to 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or even a full hour. So it's kind of there to act as an alternative to free roam, but not with the score goals. Even if you set the time limit to an hour, you'll still experience point degradation, so don't even think about spamming 900s just to pass a score requirement. But these timers were pretty useful for completing the solo tours without having to retry every 2 minutes. And what do you get after putting in the time and completing every single skater's solo tours, each being about an hour long with consistent button presses and extreme mindfulness to your surroundings? Well, you get a moving Iron Galaxy skateboard. I mean, it's cool and all, but you can literally purchase even better cosmetics. The quality of the rewards here just don't match the amount of hours you put into the game. Like, when you get every gap in the game, you get these winged tops that are supposed to be super unique. But look at this, look at what your skater can be. It just doesn't make sense. And guess what? You get absolutely nothing when you complete every diabolical challenge in the game. No additional unlockable for completing everything the game offers, just a single piece of artwork and that's it. It just shows how little this game was changed from the previous remake. And you can also see that with the other remaining game modes. Speedrun mode is good if you want to prove you can beat a level's set of goals faster than the rest of the world. But I don't know, the leaderboards might be a little shady, just a little bit. Multiplayer is completely the same as the 1 and 2 remake. The competitive playlist is unchanged. You play against 7 other players in Trick Attack, Combo Mambo, Graffiti mode, and those terrible score and combo challenges with no way of choosing which map you play in. Then you have a free skate mode, which should sound self-explanatory, but there's a ton of loading in between. When you get into a free skate lobby, you're met with a 30-second timer to start the free skate mode and wait for any other players that are joining. After the 30 seconds, then the game has to load into the actual free skate, then give it a few more seconds for everybody to catch up. And finally, the 10-minute free skate will start. After the 10 minutes are up, you load into another level where the game has to once again load into the free skate mode. Why does this free skate mode have to be so complicated? And then the last playlist here is a new game mode called Hawk. In this game mode, you have to play hide and seek and place 4 skate letters around the map. Everybody has their own set of letters and has to find each other's to gain points. Whoever gets the most amount of points by 3 rounds wins. And honestly, this game mode is so boring to play online. I see what they were doing, trying to make a game mode out of collecting the skate letters in career mode, and it rewards the players with more level knowledge and understanding of the game's mechanics. But it's so time consuming. Nobody wants to spend 2 minutes just to look around a map, they want to do stuff. Nobody even wants to play this game mode. I can barely get a full lobby of skaters. I can see it being more suited towards local multiplayer, and you can have a better time against someone who is around your own skill level. If there was just one thing I would add to make the online multiplayer more beginner friendly and give new players an opportunity to learn how the pros play, it would be a spectate feature. If you come across anybody online that has scored millions of points, you'll see that they're going all around the map, comboing everything in sight and being in the air as much as possible. Not a wall plant grind wall plant combo or standing in place and doing a bunch of manual extensions at the end of a combo. Spectating these players would give beginners a chance to learn what the hell is going on with this game. Then lastly, you have a creator park, which is exactly copied from the 1 and 2 remake. But that's a good thing this time. The creator park system in 1 and 2 was the best it's ever been. Now you can even add pedestrians, boost pads, and even your own goals for others to try out. There are even some creative parks that are currently out there. Some look pretty impressive, some are gimmicky and want you to play a little minigame. Others are just there to exist. But that's what the Creative Park is. You can create whatever you want and be mildly judged by it. The Creative Park mode is there for people to have some good fun, but it also shows some of the game's flaws. Like being able to quickly grind multiple times on a slightly sloped rail or grinding objects that shouldn't be grinded on. Seriously, the amount of levels that have these, there should be a toggle for what's grindable and what isn't. But that is all of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4. And I'm gonna be completely honest, it is a good feeling game, but also an underwhelming one. The controls feel tight and responsive, and that's mainly because it's the exact same engine from the 1 and 2 remake. But that also means you get some weird spine transfer physics, the same multi-trick spamming glitch, and the ability to clip through some walls. The Pro Skater 3 tour felt right at home with the original game. It was practically a one-to-one recreation with some minor improvements. Even with the Pro Skater 4 tour, the devs changed how it worked, making it feel more like Pro Skater 3. But I actually liked what I played. They had to take some liberties with what goals had to be included and how the level was laid out, but for the most part, it was very enjoyable to play through. But the biggest issue that always crosses my mind every time I played through solo tours was still wishing I had the original Pro Skater 4 career mode. Sometimes I didn't want to play this version of the career mode. Sometimes I wanted to play some of the more lucrative goals. I wanted to wind down and play some of the minigames that were available, and I just wanted to play something that wasn't arcade mode. A lot of the smaller details that were missing in the original games shows how bland this remake is. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 doesn't feel like a remake for the original games, but more a Pro Skater 1 and 2 expansion, and that's what makes this game super disappointing. All of that makes sense when you consider how this game was made. Iron Galaxy was tasked to pick up the pieces with this project and create something with the little time that they had. And the best thing they could do in that situation was to reuse almost everything from the 1 and 2 remake and add the new features as quickly as possible. They were practically made for this role. Look at the long list of games they helped port to other consoles. And all of that is very unfortunate to a lot of Pro Skater 4 fans who wanted a more faithful remake, but got Pro Skater 1 and 2 2, which opens up the discussion on where the series is gonna go next. Tony Hawk himself said that he wanted a remake of the Underground series, and as much as I would love to play them again, I feel like that's better off left in the past. Because of that, I would rather love to see a brand new Tony Hawk game, either following the Pro Skater format or creating a completely new story mode. I mean, Pro Skater 3 and 4 proves that you have the resources for it. You have a well-established skateboarding engine, a bunch of new skaters wanting to be a part of a new Tony Hawk game, new ideas for a soundtrack, and developers that are willing to make new levels to keep the game exciting. Something new can happen that can bring a lot of new players and skaters into the series. But what the hell do I know? I just yap, I'm not a game developer. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 just feels like a cash grab. With how much this game was copied from the previous remake and the lack of new features, this game can be easily forgotten and doesn't leave me with a lasting impression. The only future DLC I can see for this game is adding Carnival, Chicago, and Oil Rig back with one additional skater. But with the state that this game is currently in, I'd say wait for a sale to try it out. You're not really missing anything. This game also leaves a lot of questions on where the series will go next. Will there be an Underground remake? Will there be an entirely new game? If so, who's gonna develop the game? There's a ton of directions this series could go next, now that all of the good Pro Skaters have been remastered, something Tony Hawk has been wanting to do since 2012. Could something be done for the game to be revived in ways that have never been seen before? Can something be made that'll appeal to a new generation of skaters? Or will this trend continue, trying to relive the golden days, endlessly looking for the same spark that ignited them when the series first started?